Final word.
The final word.
No pillow talk at all.
No pillow talks.
No pillow talk.
You're going to get right to the source, man. And, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to hide behind the bushes or anything.
Yeah. Listen, because we already said, and I'm saying this from the last time, Bryan Broaddus handing out the Dallas Cowboys secrets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Looking forward to going to camp here in a little bit. Get to stay the whole time. Excited about that. I didn't think I was going to get to stay the whole time, but they're going to let me stay. So I'll watch them all. I'm looking forward to it.
They need to have you to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing some work with DallasCowboys.com. So I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be in the player complex. I'm going to be do our show at 105.3 and then live with the guys in .com. So we'll be on the player complex. I'll be back in my old haunts.
I know
living
you
back
love it.
Bumping into all the Des Bryants and those guys of the world. Used to hang out with those boys.
Man.
Good old stomping grounds. Yeah.
Old stomping grounds. Yeah.
You got
Looking
quite
forward
the
to it.
stories, man, when you had that type of access and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
live the
Oh,
life
yeah.
you lived.
You see a lot of things you can't always talk about.
Yeah.
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 Jerry
But
Jones.
I do.
I got a few Jerry Jones stories, but I can't talk about them. Yeah.
Just tell us behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. You know what it is?
Isn't that bad?
Is that bad? That bad?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
You might go to jail.
But when he do tell
get
us-
a couple of drinks in you might.
Yeah. You give him a couple of drinks. Yeah, that open it up a little bit, right?
He said, "No, I'm a vet."
Nah, you're a vet.
That
You
won't
drink
work
your-
either.
Hey, I'm good, man. I like my access the way it is.
There you go. Hey, listen. You gotta
That
stay
man will
mute.
shut me down. He'll
Yeah.
try and shut me down.
Hey,
I already know.
Brian,
But
I
we-
always watch you
Yeah.
from a distance, and I admire how you walk that tightrope of
It's tough, man.
giving
It's
the
tough.
fans the truth.
Yeah, it's tough. You ought to try and get on an airplane. You ought to try and get on an airplane with a team. When you walk through that front door of that cabin and everybody's sitting on that plane,
Yeah.
and every one of those motherfuckers hate you.
Yeah.
They call you out, man. Freaking, the coaches would call me out walking. Oh, there's that guy.
There you go.
There's that guy.
Hell
Me
yeah.
and David Hillman took so much shit.
Tiny Jim. Yeah.
Tiny Jim, he said I had enough. He got the fuck out of there, man. He said I had enough.
See, Brian,
Yeah, I don't blame
you
him.
know, I'm listening to you. You know, I'm from Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And you picked Boston versus the Mac, but it was
I did. Boston's a better team.
yeah, and you broke it
Boston's
down.
better.
Like when you broke it down, nobody could argue with you. You talked about they won more when they we met each other in the regular season. They was the number one team all year, and you went with the analysis versus fanboy stuff. So
Dang.
Yeah, well, I
didn't even know
appreciate you saying that. But also, one of my best friends is the assistant coach for the Mavs, and he told me they were going to have a hard time with this team.
yeah, so you had some inside
Sean
stuff.
Sweeney
too.
and I are best friends. Yeah,
There you go. Well,
yeah.
yeah. We can't get.
What
a
do the
source better
Mavs?
than
The
that.
Mavs need another scorer, man. You know, they need someone else that can just stand tall with them boys.
Yeah, they also those wings. They need those long wings. Is another thing. So yeah, Sean Sweeney and I are like best friends, and so he steers me straight. He goes, man, we're gonna have a hard time with this team.
Yeah, and you
We have a
just
hard time.
you read the tea leaves and gave it to us straight.
I tried. They were 9. Everybody was talking about how bad the East was. They were 9-5 versus the West. Dallas was 5-9 against the East.
Right. Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It ain't that hard.
Well, yeah,
Ain't
no.
that-
I mean, analysis and analysis. Let's
Try
get
it, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk ball, though. Ooh, I can't wait. Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
over here, man, because we're going to talk today.
Yeah, I just wanna run it up. Can we check or something? I've been really in the field, let up, yeah. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check a song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up. Yeah. Count it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives. Need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play. Charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Revan now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, love the rush, I love the feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Let's get it.
All right, man. We got the man himself in the house. And listen, I watch you in Voch, so I know you hate those intros, but we gotta respect tradition.
Mm-hmm.
We have to respect tradition over here.
You don't always have to respect tradition. You can say, Brian, how you doing? I'm going to say, great, boys. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Hey, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So good. Right into it, man. We're going to go off the top turnbuckle. All right.
There you go.
So here we go. So obviously, you know, we heard the news. We want to kind of talk about it with you about Mike McCarthy being fed up. So let's get right into it. What's your thoughts on it, bro?
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I think Mike McCarthy, when he took this job, he was interested in getting back in the league. And really, Mike didn't have a lot of opportunities. He interviewed with Jerry and Steven, had a dinner, had some Johnny Walker Blue, talked about what they needed to do. That's a little bit of a bar right there. That's pretty good. Yeah. But the thing about with Mike, I don't think he really knew what he was getting into. You know, my experience, I've been two places that Mike's been to Green Bay and been here in Dallas. In Green Bay, you don't have an owner. You have a president of the club. He stays out of the way. The general manager's the responsibility of the team. That's Ted Thompson at the time. Mike really didn't have to do much. Mike didn't have to scout, he just had to coach the team. And you come to Dallas, and it's a little bit different. You get responsibility. You get to be a personnel man if you want to. Bill Parcells wanted to be a personnel man. Dave Campo, Wade Phillips, they really didn't want to be personnel men. But Mike gets the opportunity. Coach is going to have a little bit of a say what goes on. So, that's new for Mike, and I'm sure he appreciated that a little bit. But he also, as the season's gone along, or these seasons have gone along, the man's found a way to win multiple games, 12 games, 3 years in a row. And if he was in Atlanta, Carolina, Phoenix, they'd have a damn statue of him in the front of the stadium.
Right.
He had an extension by now. But we all know it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not, when you have trouble in the playoffs, there's going to be problems. And I think Mike, he understands what he's in now. I'll tell you, Zach Wolchuk and I do the Cowboys pre- and post-game show on. We do the post-game show on 105.3 The Fan.
Right.
There'll be 3 guys in a post-game interviewing Mike McCarthy, and 28 others out there interviewing Jerry Jones.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That is the way it is. Mike McCarthy's never had to deal with a general manager that has two radio shows, and a son that has 2 radio shows.
Come on with it. Mm-hmm.
So, he knows now. He knows now. And, and I don't blame Mike for being pissed off about not getting an extension. Don't blame him at all. Because like everywhere else, he would probably had an extension by now.
Right.
But he doesn't. Yeah. And, and Mike McCarthy now, and he and I share the same agent, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My guy Don Yee just picked him up. So I have to be careful of how bad I talk about Mike. I'll throw some dirt on Mike, though. I will.
He's probably
not a fan of mine.
Yeah.
He's probably not a fan of mine. Because I've been critical. I've called him lazy. I've called him a lot of names. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I like I say, I've worked at 2 places he's been at. I've had people tell me he's like, this is one of the laziest coaches I've been with in 19 years. I've heard people say that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm, you know, but anyway, Mike has done the type of job where he's won regular season games, been very good at it. And, you know, he feels like he, you know, and Bobby Belt and I did Love of the Star last night. It's up right now. You can listen to it. We narrowed it down to 3 guys that we think told this reporter who, you know, and I believe it because the reporter's a credible reporter. Right. Ty's a credible reporter. Right. Ty's got some really good sources. And you know, you just kind of put it together who is left, who's left the bill. You know, we've got guys that have gone on to the Commanders. Rob Davis got fired by Jerry Jones.
I was thinking Rob Davis.
Rob Davis. Why not?
Sound like Rob Davis.
Yeah.
Especially
this is
when
Rob
you
Davis.
Look at the quote, because that's a leadership quote that he had.
Yeah.
That's somebody that's very familiar with leadership.
Yeah. That's one of those things that Mike and Rob Davis are very, very close.
Right.
And so to me, it makes a lot of sense when you start, and, you know, and you know, hey, when you know, it turned into when Rob Davis got fired, and I said this when it happened, it became prisoner for prisoner. Jerry's like, what are we doing with this? Who's this Rob Davis? Why do I have to pay him $300,000 a year?
Let me pause you real quick, Broaddus, okay? Just real quick.
And I trust me, I hope Mike pulls it together. I really do. I don't hate Mike McCarthy. There's things, I've been at 2 organizations where he's been. So I know a lot about the man, okay? Yeah. I know a lot about the man. Yeah. You know, but he's won 25 games in 2 years. Right. But man, he made a big Jerry said, listen, I'm not interested in paying Joe Philbin $2 million a year. Gone. Oh, by the way, hey, Mike, you need to get rid of that Rob Davis, the guy who's the assistant head coach. Gone. Wow. Oh, wait, by the way, Jerry, I think I'm going to get rid of Leon Lett, who was one of your favorites. Gone. Oh, you see what's going on with that staff a little bit? We're prisoners.
Wasn't he just pissed off? Dang, that was us last year, huh?
Yeah, that was us last year.
Yeah, oh, man, that was us.
You got a good mind, man. You bring that up because this was I was thinking this right here.
Yeah,
I think that Jerry was ready to move on from Mike McCarthy last year, but what turned it around was after that 49ers game. I think that Mike McCarthy woke up, and then the offense woke up. Dak Prescott woke up. A third of the team woke up, and especially CeeDee Lamb woke up, and things changed. Immediately, the love affair for Dan Quinn dissipated and went away, and it started to say, hey, look what this offense is doing. Look what Dak Prescott is doing, becoming all-pro. Or becoming one of those MVP conversations. So
right.
Yeah. So when you look at the movement of firing Rob Davis, getting rid of a couple of people, a soul for a soul type of thing, man, you're right on the money with it. I think that he was ready to get rid of them then.
And I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to play that clip because you said prisoner for prisoner. And I remember you said that last year, and I had that ready to go.
I appreciate you doing that. Thank you for remembering that because that's exactly. See, you wonder why. I think Mike. You asked me the question. Is Mike? I think Mike is comfortable. I think Mike is comfortable knowing that if he gets fired from here, that he can go somewhere else.
Right.
And he'll get a job.
Yeah.
He was worried sitting in a farmhouse in Green Bay, Wisconsin, whether he would ever coach again.
Right.
And now he's proven, like, you know, anybody that survives Jerry Jones and thrives in Jerry Jones, the only thing this guy hadn't done is win playoff games.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Right.
You know, he's won divisions. You know, the team's playing well. They've drafted well. Some of their players have developed. You know, I mean, he's wondering, what else do I have to do?
Yeah.
So I get it. And hey, is there things that they need to be better at? Absolutely. But there was a big, big, big love for Dan Quinn here. Big love for Dan Quinn.
You could see it. It was very obvious.
Yeah, and there was, and I'd be willing to bet. If I got on a plane right now and was, at the Wynn Hotel in Vegas, I'd place a bet that there was people in the organization that were thinking, man, it'd be nice to have Dan Quinn here. It'd be nice if we, because Dan Quinn kind of fit in with everybody. Mike, maybe not. maybe Mike had his guys, and all of a sudden Jerry forced him to fire a bunch of guys, and then, and he finds a way, hey, I'm taking this guy, and they're still winning. I mean, Dan Quinn fell in his lap, and I'm sure Mike McCarthy likes Mike Zimmer. Was it his first choice? Probably not. But you're trying to do things to, if someone says, well, damn, Mike, we Dan Quinn came in here and did a pretty solid job, So I can understand it. If in fact this is Rob Davis telling this reporter that Mike's not happy, I would take it as the word, because I think there's something definitely there. But Mike's got a little bit of he's got a beef. He does. I mean, he's probably thinking, what else do I have to do?
Broaddus, let me jump in just real quick and ask you something, because I always said it wasn't fair for Mike, because Kellen Moore was placed on him. Yeah. So, and he verbalized that he did not like option routes.
Yeah. Right.
But yet he had to be a steward over a guy who was running a system he didn't agree with. But yet you still won 12 games. That alone should tell me extend this man, because the first time you gave him his chance, Dak was in the MVP conversation. This offense started clicking out a very short period of time. To me, that says extend him.
See, this is where I think that Mike actually was okay with Kellen Moore, and I'm going to tell you guys why.
Okay.
I don't think Mike McCarthy was interested in teaching his offense. And he talked about, I broke down all this film in the farmhouse, did a lot of work in the farmhouse, watched all the Cowboy tape, and then admitted he really didn't watch all the Cowboy tape.
Yeah.
So I don't think Mike McCarthy wanted to come in here and teach the offense.
Get on the ground floor.
Yeah, some of these guys, okay, you hire Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions, or this Dave Canellis who's now coaching at Carolina.
Right.
They're like, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We're doing this. Right. Now, Mike probably saw Dak Prescott having some success, and going, you know what? I don't really want to mess with this guy too much. There's some things. Mike had to learn Kellen Moore's offense. They had to talk in a language that he would understand.
Right.
And so I think Mike coming in was like, okay, let's just see what happens. He got his guy in Mike Nolan, but that was a damn disaster.
Yeah,
it was. That was Jim Tom Sula, disaster. The guys that he brought in, disasters. And all of a sudden now it's Kellen Moore in the offense, and they're kind of like, Joe Philbin. They did some good things on offense, but the defense was a disaster.
Right.
So I don't think Mike McCarthy, I think Kellen Moore left on his own. I think that Mike and Kellen just got to the point where, bro, I can't do this anymore. Kellen said, I can't do this anymore. I'm sure Kellen Moore was closing his door there at the Star. He was on the phone. He was talking to people like, I got to get the hell out of here. I got to leave. I got to go. I got to get out of here. And so he leaves. So what happens? Mike McCarthy says, okay, well, I've got to call plays now. And he goes and gets Brian Schottenheimer, who's got a lot of energy. Brian Schottenheimer's a good coach.
Yeah.
His old man was a damn good coach. I go back to his old man. But Brian is a go-getter. Brian is standing in front of the meeting. Brian's like, he's with everybody. I mean, the guys on Dan Quinn's staff, I was talking to George Edwards about this. I was talking to players about this. Brian Schottenheimer came in to kind of help. He did the Ben McAdoo job.
Right. The consultant.
The consultant that was working with the defense, helping the defense. He wasn't working with the offense. He was helping the defense. And players were coming up to me like, man, Broaddus, this Brian Schottenheimer knows he knows what he's doing. He's good. This kid's good. He knows what he's good. He's got an idea. So all of a sudden, what do? Kellen Moore leaves. Brian Schottenheimer's in place. He transfers over. Now he's helping teach the offense a little bit. Yeah. But Mike's calling the plays in the first 5 weeks. We're all going, what the hell? You know? And then finally, Dak, CD, others probably step up and go, if we keep doing this, we ain't winning another damn game.
Yeah.
We're not going to win another damn game.
Yeah.
And Mike,
I was calling it.
Give Mike credit. Give Mike credit.
He listened.
He hands it over to Dak. He hands it over to Brian Schottenheimer. He's calling, but he's kind of like in, out. He's not, I mean, I'm sure he's meeting. Mike will make you feel like that he's standing there 24/7 with these guys. Wow. It's not always the case. And not every coach does that. That's just not a way it works. So they kind of figure some things out. Dak has some ideas. Brian Schottenheimer has some ideas. They take what's working for him and what's not working and kind of, put it, to the side.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at it and you're going, okay, well, this thing's kind of humming along a lot better. But initially, I do not think when he got here that Mike McCarthy wanted to teach this defense. Or excuse me, this offense. I don't think he wanted to okay.
Yeah.
He had guys in Green Bay that were teaching the offense.
I see where you're going, Brian.
Yeah.
I got to ask you something. Lau, can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead.
Now, I want to ask you straight up, Brian. Does Mike McCarthy over-delegate? Because I'm thinking about the Detroit game.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't think he over-delegates at all.
Because you remember the Detroit game, that clock management thing? That was on that.
Yeah. Well, there's certain things that Mike are really good at. And delegation, I wouldn't say over,
right?
But I think he has an understanding of okay, this needs to be done. He's seen it done the right way, but then there's also that decision making. Every once in a while, you go, what? Well, and I used to we all watch the games. I mean, we all watch other NFL games. We see the guys that manage the games really well, and we see guys that don't do so well.
Right.
And then he tries to come up with an answer, and then there's three guys in the press conference asking him a question because they're all talking to Jerry, But anyway, so we've already covered that ground. But Mike is one of those guys that, to me, he wants to make you believe that he's a roll up his sleeves guy, but he's the delegation. I wouldn't say over,
but he definitely delegates.
He's a delegator of. Okay, help me. And you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing. If you have guys that are really good, like when we were in Green Bay, we had Andy Reid, John Gruden, Steve Mariucci.
Yeah.
We had coaches that if you really delegated to them and,
they took care of it.
They took care of it. And Mike called the plays. And there were times where Mike would get in a rut on the play calling and he'd say, Andy, take over.
Ooh.
Andy, take over a series here. And Andy would take over a series, and you get back in a groove.
Yeah,
And so I can see where Brian Schottenheimer, Mike, leans on Brian a lot, and he probably, like I say, the whole thing with Mike and and Mike Solari, and I mean when he lost Joe Philbin, he lost a pretty significant guy. That was his guy.
Yeah,
Yep. So
it made him play against his back against the wall. So now that you mentioned that explains a lot to me about how all of this will work out, because Mike Solari, I talked to Big Nate Newton last year. He said, Law, it's going to be about 6 or 7 weeks. These boys are not ready to pick up because they don't have enough time to transfer from Joe Philbin to Mike Solari. Is a whole different situation. It's going to be a minute. I said, come on now. We don't have 6 or 7 weeks. And it was literally that time
6 weeks.
And,
it was.
And then on top of that, we also had the Jeff Blasco thing that he was trying to install his philosophy on the run thing with Solari, and he had a little situation at the start of the season, so he was delayed for about 3 or 4 weeks to get everything going. But to mention all of this, what you said, this also explains, whereas what can really happen for the good for us is this dude named Steve Shimko. You bring him in, and maybe some of that delegation stuff that Mike McCarthy, because you mentioned this, that he gets a little lazy. He gets a little like, hey, if you install it, you call it, right? He gets one of those type of grooves.
Right.
So, who is Steve Simcoe to you, though? Is he going to be a difference maker to help out Mike McCarthy on his offense?
Well, if you know Simcoe's history, and I man, when I was in the league, I knew all these college assistants because you never knew. I mean, I've had guys around the league, and this is not a brag, but I just follow this closely because there was one day where I wanted to be a general manager, and I just, the highest I ever got was getting to run a draft in Philly, and I thought maybe this would be my chance. But I always kept a list of minority coaches. I always kept a list of the best running back coach, the best offensive line coach. Simcoe's a guy, though, if you look at Boston College and what he was able to do, they had a freshman quarterback, and they ran the ball really, really well. They were physical. They ran the ball. They had a running quarterback. He really didn't throw the ball that well, but they had some really good scheme. And so that's kind of where you hope that maybe these guys that you bring in, these, these Andy's done it with Mike. He did it with Mike Kafka. And I know you guys Mike Kafka is the OC at the Giants now. And Andy didn't want to lose Mike Kafka, but Eric Bieniemy couldn't get a job. He couldn't, I was talking to Andy. I'm like, what are you going to do with Kafka? Mike Kafka, I don't know. I can't. Eric is doing a great job. I don't want to, but if he gets a head coaching job, maybe I could put him in, one of those things. And he lost him. He lost him. And so it was, you always, these young guys, you go get these young guys that have got creative ideas. They watch the college, they live the college game, and they understand how to attack, and they know how to run the ball, and they know how to formation you and stuff like that. And so this is where I think you're at, because Schottenheimer, I think they'll do a good job of studying what they need to do. But man, this is going to be interesting if they're going to play with two rookie offensive linemen. And if you're one of those guys or gals that trusts Pro Football Focus, they tell you got the 32nd ranked running back room in the league.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some challenges for this crew if that's the case. And but that's what they're going to need. Maybe they're going to have to scheme some stuff until they get these guys ready. But that's when you think of a young college coach. This kid, he's got some skins when it comes to running that football.
Now, Bryan, I got to pull you into what everybody want to know. I got to. All right. So listen to this, and we go talk about it.
You got Trey Lance, or you give me 60?
Yeah, I mean, look.
And the way Trey Lance has looked out there at those practices, you don't want to pay Trey Lance $20 million to be your quarterback.
They have no leverage. Unless the only leverage they have is that Dak Prescott doesn't want to play for another team or move to another city.
So real quick, Bobby Bell said something very significant to me.
Yeah.
He said you don't want to pay Trey Lance $20 million based on what he's been looking like at practices.
Yeah.
I'm fair enough to know he took a year off as well that he still need to develop. But at the same time, grading what you saw so far from minicamp and OTAs, that's basically like saying Trey is a third of Dak. What would you say ratio-wise is Trey Lance to Dak right now at this moment? Not saying this is how it's going to play out, just at this moment.
Yeah, the thing about it was I was expecting – they had a whole year where we didn't see Trey Lance.
Right.
And I've got friends in San Francisco that were telling me about Trey Lance when they made the trade. And he says, listen, this is a great kid. He works hard. He's mentally tough. There's things about him you're really, really going to like. And he goes, the problem with us is he got hurt. And then all of a sudden, their guy comes in out of nowhere. And all of a sudden it's, well, we don't need Trey anymore. They admit it. They made a mistake. They admit they made the mistake. They admit that really the biggest problem with Trey was he couldn't stay healthy. And every time they felt like they were making some progress with him, he got hurt. And then, they're like, and we just couldn't deal with it anymore, And so they had to move on. I'll say this at watch and practice.
Okay.
I think there's things. Okay, now we've got to see a couple of OTAs and 3 regular practices, 3 OTA, 3 a mini camp practice, and then OTA practices.
Right.
There are things that Trey Lance, I was expecting for them to work with him for the entire year of last year and not see anything. I don't think that to me, the level of where he should be, I think it's up, but I don't think it's where they maybe think it is.
Right.
I think they really, really like Trey. I think that there's some things he does well, but I was expecting a guy that was reading faster, seeing it faster. It was like there were times where he would drop back and he would hold that ball. Yeah. And this is watching practice. And this is Mike Zimmer, secondary. Mike wants to play coverage. Mike will rush you, but he'll play coverage. That's his thing. Mm-hmm. And there were times where Trey in these practices was holding the ball. And it was like he was trying to get through his progressions, and then he got a little stuck, and then he would go with the ball. And I don't know if Trey Lance's arm talent is enough to say I could hold the ball and then try and throw it. Right. It has to be catch, read, throw it. Catch, read, throw it. Catch. I think it has to be that with him. So they can't hide him at training camp. We'll be there every day watching, and he will be the most scrutinized player on that practice field every day. There was going to be story after story after story, and Todd Archer's going to break down the numbers, and he's going to say, in 7-on-7 today, he was 9 of 12. In team period, he was 12 of 15. He threw an interception today. He is going to be the most scrutinized guy because we all have to figure it out.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, though, Bryan Broaddus, on time machine, going back in the past in 2016, there was a quarterback, Dak Prescott. He was terrible in practice.
Yep.
He was terrible.
Dan Mullen would tell you that. Dan Mullen would tell you to your face, Dak Prescott was one of the worst practice quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. So is this the same for Trey?
Could it be
two different things?
Right.
Could it be?
I think.
Could it be just to be fair to Trey?
Yeah. No. I'm not. I mean, I'm totally. Hey, listen. I'm glad they made the trade because to me, as well as they draft,
right.
When you're starting to talk about Trey Lance on a board where he was, they didn't have a first round grade on Trey Lance. He was at top of the second round. 1.20 was his grade. And so to me, you know what? They started the journey a year early. Instead of waiting and maybe picking him up now and trying to figure things out, they got him. They've talked about him. They've used him for a year. They've practiced him. They've used practice squad receivers. They give him extra coaching. There's things we didn't see. I was expecting just a little bit more of a sharper guy. Yeah. That's it. Trey Lance can play quarterback. There's no doubt. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. Yeah. And like we talked about, when he was trying to get experience, he got hurt. Right. So there are things about Trey Lance that I don't want to see Cooper Rush take one rep. I can care less about Cooper Rush. Okay. Brian. Every rep that's not going to Dak Prescott needs to go to Trey Lance. Right.
Brian,
then we will see.
Brian, I want to respectfully push back just a little. Okay.
You don't have to say respectfully, just push back.
Let's get it then. So at what point does it go from evaluation to preparation? Right? Because right now I see your point. I get it. Yeah. We need to evaluate Trey Lance. That makes sense. Right. But then at some point, it's almost could be taken away from the season if we're not preparing the proper number 2. So at what point do you say, okay, we've seen enough?
That's why you got Cooper Rush.
So are you saying you would just trust him with no reps to go into the season?
At this point, Cooper Rush has made a living doing this.
Gotcha.
When you go to practice during the week, the second quarterback practices on the scout team. That's the reps he gets. There might be 6 plays, he gets 2 reps with the regular offense. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Cooper Rush can function. We've seen him function in NFL games. It's not going to be pretty it's not going to be, but you know what? When your defense plays well, your kicking game's good, Cooper Rush is not going to. Hell, he almost went to Philadelphia when his last start.
Right.
But that your safety net now is Cooper Rush, because if Trey Lance pees down his leg this preseason and looks like crap, he's the third quarterback.
Yeah, the emergency release quarterback. And what they got on the line here is that they got $250 million that's available for Dak Prescott if they work out that particular contract. They got to pay $40 million regardless if Dak Prescott is here or not next season. And then you got to figure out how much money you're going to pay Trey Lance. So that's a crazy situation to be in if you're the Dallas Cowboys at this point.
And I almost hate it just a little bit because it's almost like reverse cheap to me. Right, where because we paid for this, now we trying to figure it out. You know, and we all do that. We do that with cars. We do that with where we keep trying to fix the car when at some point you got to say this is what the car is and we need to move on. So
this is where you're really at, because what's going to happen, as we know, this could be any normal front office. Your GM's getting fired for this happening.
Woo!
Your GM's getting fired.
Wow.
Your GM, trust me, I know Jason Light down there in Tampa.
Right.
Jason Light was telling me, man, if we don't turn things around here, I'm going to get fired. Look who shows up, Tom Dan Brady, and he gets a 5-year extension. You know? Right. He knew. You know, my guy Les Snead out there in the Rams. Les is calling me up. He's going, Broaddus, I'm hearing that John Gruden's going to get this job. I'm like, I'm not hearing that at all, Les. He goes, really? I go, no. Les was worried that if Gruden got the job, he was going to get blown out as a GM. All of a sudden, he gets the Wonder Boy as his head coach. They win a Super Bowl. And now he's got a 5-year extension. Yeah. See, any general managers want to pay for their lake house. They don't want to get fired. They want to be able to keep their jobs so they can pay for their retirements and their lake houses and stuff like that.
Right.
This front office ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So they can let this thing ride. They can head coach 1-year contract, sure. Quarterback, no safety net, let's go. You know, backup quarterback, we don't need a contract for him. You know, that's how they're playing this game right now. But anybody else in the league,
what would you do with CD?
Yeah. Anybody else in the league would be right now like crapping in their pants because their situation is they could lose their quarterback, they could lose their head coach. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So they can afford to do some reckless ass stuff with their. Now I'll say this about the Dak contract.
Okay.
They're dealing with an agent that he don't F around. That agent, that Todd France, he don't F around. We seemed like 2 years ago, it seemed like we were talking about going into camp, Dak Prescott is going to get a contract. And here we are talking about another extension, you know? And France kind of caught Dallas at a hard time too, because he was leaving from one agency to go to the other. He wasn't really wanting to negotiate really fast or fair with Stephen Jones. You know, he really wasn't interested in putting money with his old agency. You know, he's like, oh yeah, franchise tag, we're good. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine. You know, everything Dak bet on himself. I think Todd France, by his job, by changing jobs or changing agencies, slow played this into getting a bigger extension for Dak Prescott.
Good Lord. Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, because if I'm Dak, I'm definitely waiting after Tua and Love. Intentionally. I'm not in no rush. I'm Tua, go ahead. Love, go ahead. If y'all push the market up, I get more. It makes sense. Like, you know, sometimes slow play is the way.
Well, they might. I'll tell you what would be interesting, though, too, guys. If the Cowboys just say, you know what, nah, we're not going to pay you $60 million.
I doubt it, Brian. Ain't no way they're that crazy. Ain't no way.
Watch. I went on a 3-minute rant to tell you this front office don't have time for you because you know what? They ain't going nowhere, boys.
But you're right. You're right on that. But they would be crazy because that cap hit, that dead hit is gonna slap them harder than they mama.
You know what they do? They trust that Will McClay.
Oh, no way, Brian.
Willie.
Listen to this.
I'm listening.
They trust themselves that they will draft well enough that they will not fall apart.
Oh,
or you know what
no.
They'll trade Micah Parsons and go draft him a quarterback is what they'll do.
What's the temperature on Michael Parsons since you brought him up first? What's the temperature?
What are you shaking your head about? You know
That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. And let me tell you why that would be crazy, Brian. Because we just saw sunshine.
Damn crazy that they have three quarterbacks not under contract. And they don't have a head coach under contract?
No, all of that is crazy. I'm just saying to think you can actually go up and go get another quarterback. Dak Prescott don't grow on trees.
They live in crazy. They live in crazy.
Yeah. See, that's what I got to accept right there. See, that's the hard part to accept. And I say that sometimes to my co-hosts is that.
You know what? You haven't given up yet. You haven't. There's people. I do radio every damn day here.
Yeah.
There's people that have given up.
Yeah.
There are people that are hardcore effing Cowboy fans that are had enough. They've had enough. And you know what? But you haven't had enough.
It's not even that. I'm staying on the logical end of it. Because you get a third round comp pick.
Ain't nothing logical like what Brian said. There's nothing logical.
Yeah, now you're right. Now, if I get away from logic, I'm rocking with you, Brian.
There's nothing logical. And you're saying, boy, that would be crazy. They're already at that point.
True. That's true. Yeah. I can't fight you on that. Because this is already crazy. From the and let me co-sign what you're saying a little bit, Brian, because Stephen Jones admitted the last time that his biggest mistake was not paying Dak. So you're doing it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. We're past the point of crazy. We're past that point, man. Because you know why? They don't run their franchise like everybody else.
True. Yeah.
They would have found a way. They would have found a way to. They would have found a way to pay Dak Prescott before it got out of hand. Dak Prescott, they would have found a way to pay him $35 million. Now they're looking at $60 million. You know why? Because again, I think the agent had a part of this. I'm not blaming totally Jerry Jones on this one because I think the agent had an agenda too.
Right.
But man, we're past the point of crazy here, boys.
Yeah, it is. Right.
They're letting this thing ride right now. Now maybe we'll turn around. Maybe we'll get to Oxnard here in a month, and Jerry will sit up there at that podium and tell us that he got Dak Prescott done. We'll see.
I would bet $1 million
how do you
that
factor
happens.
In? Yeah. What would you say, boss?
I bet $1 million that happens. Because it's another reason why I think it happens, because they make so much publicity money off Dak, the business side of Dak, right? Yeah. Because Colin Cowherd said that they made $250 million on Dak as a rookie. None of us gambling that. You keep, even if it's just for publicity, you keep Dak.
Yeah, the publicity is there.
I hope you're right. What you do?
Yeah.
What you do?
I haven't given up yet, Brian.
Brian, what you do with Zach Martin if he say, "Hey, I'm not ready to hang him up, so you got to work out a contract with him"? How do you work that in?
Man, we did a show. I think we're going to get Zach back for our Thursday shows. When Zach starts talking, hanging up.
Yeah,
I think he's a hang it up. I think you need to be ready for.
Yeah,
I think you need to be ready to see how well. I don't know if Cooper Beebe is going to start at center this year because I feel like that coaches will get in the way and they'll say, "Listen, I can't go with two rookie cats." And but see, this is where your head coach needs to step in and say, "You know what? Yeah, we're going to play. We're going to play with Beebe here. We're going to play. I don't care. We're going to bite it and we're going to go. We're going to bite the bullet. We're just going to play with two rookies and here we go."
Let me jump in real quick on that.
Go ahead.
Because you scare me, Brian. I heard you say that a lot. I heard you say that on Voch show.
I believe it with my heart.
Yeah, because I know you've been working your sources on that.
I've lived this one. I've lived this one.
So this is because what's making me afraid. We have seen this before. Mm-hmm. Like when we saw this with Tyler Smith and McGovern.
It took Tyron Smith to get his hamstring ripped off his leg for us to be able to get Tyler Smith on the field.
You scare me. Because all of us want to see BB. All of us. But see, now, this is where are you getting these strong feelings from?
Yeah.
Man, I live with this team, bro.
Yeah. You say he live with this. This is what he do, man.
I don't dick around on it. Yeah, I don't dick around. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, I've lived with the coaches when coaches are sitting there telling me on draft day, and me and Aisha Morrison are sitting there interviewing coaches.
So from the tea leaves, you getting that feeling because this is where I would say I see where you coming from. Yeah. Because I was kind of watching the tea leaves on how Hoffman is kind of being a leader of Tyler Guyton and the leader. Like, it's like, where did this leadership role come from?
Anything you want to talk about with BB, they'll tell you, hey, BB's a fine player. We're very fortunate to have him. Yeah, good. But did we tell you about Hoffman? We tell you what Brock Hoffman did? It's the same thing I heard from Joe Philbin about Terrence Steele.
Right.
First in the building, last out of the building. He's going to work hard. He's going to study. He's going to prepare. You know, hey, I hope BB beats him out.
Yeah.
But I don't know with a staff that's fighting for their existence, are they going to start 2 rookie offensive linemen?
Yeah. Let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
What do TJ Bass does better than Brock, and what do Brock does better than TJ for that spot?
Yeah, I think to me, that's the thing. I think the thing with to me, Bass could be the future at right guard. They'll tell you that they feel like that he plays better at right guard than he does at left guard.
Okay, so no center at all.
If something happens where Guyton is not good enough, then it's kick Smith, plug Bass, or plug BB in that spot, in that guard spot, and then go. You know, I think that's their safety net. I'm Chuma Doga. You know, all that stuff. I mean, don't make me do that.
Lord.
Don't make me do that.
What happened to Awesome Richard last year versus
You know what? It bothered me. It bothered me that Awesome Richards didn't beat Adoga out. Yeah. And I thought, usually when it's like directional name your state player, you know, like offensive tackle from directional South Dakota State or something, you know what I'm saying? It's usually like, okay, this kid played at North Carolina, played at a high level, played against Florida State, played against Miami, played against Notre Dame, had some really good games. You know, I'm keeping an eye. I know people, me and Bobby and Voch, we've talked about this, but Jeff Kavanaugh, we've talked about this a bunch. I'm keeping an eye on Awesome Richards because I want to make sure, I want to see if Awesome Richards, the fact that he wasn't ready or good enough to beat Adoga out scared me a little bit last year.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll see. Matt will let's go. Okay. Ball. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But let me, you know, Awesome Richards, I saw him in some high level games against Clemson, you know, big games and like have some success. And I'm hopeful that carries over, you know, maybe that first year he now knows where he needs to be. He knows what he needs to do strength wise, you know, all these things he's, you know, we'll see with the line coach situation and all that, you know, how it works out. But I'll tell you what, I'm hopeful for him because I've seen him play at a high level. But like I say, it's kind of an unknown for me right now, though, too.
Yeah, next month need to hurry up and get here so we can, know what Nate Thomas and what's this Earl Boston kid all about? What was he? Is he going to be just lunch food or what? You know? Yeah,
I think that we'll be doing those games. We'll be watching those, you know, the 3 preseason games. It'll be in the third, and you'll see him in there. And you know, to me, it seems like offense and defensive linemen you just don't want to get rid of. You don't want to, because they're hard to find during the season. Like all of a sudden, like I'd always try and poach a guy off of somebody's practice squad, like an offensive lineman. And it took like an act of God to get him, you know, like the other team would find out and then they'd activate the guy so he wouldn't move. Nobody wants to lose these offensive linemen. And so we'll see how these guys all kind of play out, you know, for this offensive line. And like I say, I'm just a little bit nervous about if Hoffman legitimately beats BB out, then okay, cool. You're right there, Mike Solari. You're right. You're absolutely right. But if we start to see BB plays better than Hoffman and looks more powerful, more, you know, the things we were talking about, powerful, second level, able to get pushed in the running game, sustains blocks, not on the ground, you know, blitz pickup guy, you know, able to do all those things, then if that's the case, if BB's able to do that and we're able to see that, then there's no questions. There's no questions.
Hey, Broaddus, I gotta go one more place that I know everybody want to talk about. Right. Everybody want to talk about. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Everybody, I heard two promises. One came from you, one came from Stephen Jones. Let me play it. We go talk
Believe
about it.
his promise before mine.
No, I like it because we go get into what I know a lot of people want to talk about. Check this out.
Yeah, I mean, I think, another year, with Mozzie, I know Zim's looking forward to working with him. I just think Mozzie's going to step up and be a really good football player. But we also know that, Hankins was a good fit for us 2 years in a row. And, there's usually, big defensive tackles out there that you can pick up. I know the Eagles picked up a couple of years ago. Late in the game, and just feel like there's going to be some opportunities there at that position as well. To add something, to add some depth and some competition for camp.
That's what they were practicing with the other day. So these injuries that they've got with Mozzie Smith being out and Osa being out, and then no Lawrence, it doesn't make the group look particularly good right now. And so that's something that I think we're going to have to monitor. And hopefully, I was talking with somebody another source in the organization about with Osa's dealing with some things, but I was told, listen, it's May, just let it happen. And by the time we get to camp, things will be fine. And when it comes time to play, things will be even better.
Heard it twice. Where camp. Now, what made me nervous is we heard the promises, but what they were shopping for was corner and linebacker. So it was
there's not any defensive tackles out there, I don't think, that you would want right now.
So it's one of those things we got to kind of let camp start, let some people start getting cut, and then they go kind of get into the market.
I used to do pro personnel stuff for the team. And my scouts, I took the college scouts and I would divide them up to all the various teams. And I'd make them, while they were going to their college in August, I would they would go to preseason games too. And I gave them responsibilities. And we kind of knew going out that we needed to keep an eye on teams with running backs or teams with cornerbacks or teams with safeties, linebackers, whatever. I am now looking. There's teams. If I'm on the pro department, if I'm Alex Loomis for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm telling my guys, I'm like, listen, I need you to find me running backs. Give me as many running backs as you can find. Give me the names. Tell me what you think. It might be better than what we got. I need you to look at all the defensive tackles too. If there's surplus, if there's maybe somebody we can trade for.
Okay.
I don't see Will McClay taking this really far in those two positions. If it meant, I don't see him like going into week 5 like he did with Amari Cooper and then going to get somebody. I think Will McClay is going to look at the first week, maybe 10 days of camp, and they're going to start to say, okay, we need to get a better plan about what we're going to do with these couple of positions. And I think defensive tackle, the one technique is one. In the clip you played, Voch asked me, I was talking about Osa, because Osa was dealing with a back.
Right.
And a guy told me that in the organization says, listen, it's May. He'll be fine. Don't worry about the back.
Right.
I saw Mozzie with my own eyes. It was the first time I'd seen Mozzie. He looked like he's put on some weight.
Right.
But he's not 329 pounds like he was at Michigan. Right. He's not that guy.
Oh.
I talked to Mike Zimmer about him. I said, Mike, what do you expect? He says, I just want him to come in and work hard. I just want him to come in every day and work hard, and I'll figure it out. So, he was on the cords with Britt Brown during the one practice I got to see there at the end. And, we'll see if he gets to practice. We'll see. I know Britt will do all he can to get him ready to get camp and to get going. Oh. But the more time he misses, the more doubt I have. And it might turn into, it might turn into a situation where, listen, I'm not a fan of I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Carl Davis is a guy that I absolutely love.
Right.
I've seen Carl Davis play. I'm not impressed with what Carl Davis is doing. Yeah. But now let's see what Justin Rogers does. Justin Rogers is going to get a lot of burn early in this camp and be a rookie. And he played at Auburn. He played at a high level. Yeah. And it might come down to him having to be the guy initially until they can kind of figure some things out. But I think I'm like Stephen Jones. You could see it in his face. He's trying to will himself into saying he thinks Mozzie Smith will be fine. You know,
Yeah,
but there's a
go
lot.
one way or nothing. Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on in Mozzie's life that he has to kind of navigate to get him to the field and let him play at a high level.
Hey, but we don't have time for that, though. You know that? Because what's the storyline on Denzel Jackson, too?
Hold on real quick.
he's another-
Hold on, just real quick. Because this has a feeling of Michael Gallup. Well, Michael Gallup was gimping around. And everybody was like, come on, he not ready. But it was like, we going with it. This has that feeling that we going with our guy. And it's like, I feel like I'm watching a car accident getting ready to happen in slow motion, right? We asking the 7th round defensive tackle to go out there and hold it down until they figure it out.
Well, the last seventh round defensive tackle you had from Auburn was a guy named Jay Ratliff. And if he could be a quarter of Jay Ratliff, what Jay Ratliff meant for this organization, I would.
Did he do that year one?
No, I'm just saying Auburn 7th round. That's my hope right now.
Yeah.
But I think the kid can play at a high level. You're right. It's not the prettiest thing, but sometimes you have to have some of these guys step up and play. At least initially, it has to. Losing Hankins is a big deal. Yeah. Losing Hankins is a big deal. And to me, there was that security blanket of him, that when you had him and his ability to play. But man, pro department is going to have to earn their money on this one. They worked out a bunch of defensive ends today, which was, and now I'm kind of thinking about, okay, what's going on? Are they thinking the numbers aren't right at defensive end? They worked out 3-4 defensive ends today. So I wonder if they're going into camp thinking they're a little short there. I thought, man, and they've lost some depth pieces there. Fowler, Armstrong, but come on, Golston, come on. Man.
See, we got a super chat about Golston. Real quick, Law. I know you. I'm almost finished. I know I've been hogging. Jay Tuck said, Brian, what's your thoughts on Chauncey? Do you see him playing DT or defensive end in Zimmer's scheme?
Yeah, I think Mike's going to try. I think Mike's going to need him to play a little defensive tackle. They really don't have a lot at 3.
See, that's what's killing me. See, I listened to you, Brian. I listened to you. I heard you say that they had to put Nealon in a 3 tech because they didn't have enough depth.
Yeah, he played 3 at practice, because they didn't have enough bodies.
Oh!
I'm just telling you, man, it is funny. It is funny to they're kind of at they are right now, and a little bit because of what the cap situation is, and and maybe some of these guys have not worked out like they thought. Okay. Mozzie Smith has been, Golston's have been a big, they got the Ridgeway. They tried to be cute, and they tried to get him through waivers. He got claimed. They got a little cute there.
Yeah, they did.
So, and then they let Hankins go, and I'm sure Will McClay right now would tell me like, Broaddus, Hankins, he was on the downward slide. Okay. And who's going to play one technique for you right now?
Yeah. Who's going to be the bigger?
And I would go, okay, who's going to play one technique for you right now? This would be my second. Yeah. So I hope I'm wrong about. I hope I'm wrong about Moss. I hope I'm wrong.
We all hope. But here's the thing. This is the reason why they're bringing those boys in, because like you said, they're squeezing these guys inside. Junior Fihoko, he's going to be probably another inside guy. Also, like you said, with Chauncey, with Marshawn Nealon, as well as it could be this too, not to be conspiracy theories right here. Osa might be doing the soft holdout, man. This is a contract year for him.
No, I think he's really dealing. I understand what you're going. I understand. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. We're waiting on you now.
No, you can have the ball back, Brian, because now it's just going to look like that, because there's 2 type of players in contract years: those that go crazy ball out, or those that do the Xavier Woods situation. I can only give you 100% of the time, 70% of the time, or 60% of the time, because they are now thinking in their minds, if I go down, man, I don't have no future. I don't have big trust in this organization. I'm seeing from my level that they're giving the heat to CeeDee Lamb to get paid, and Dak Prescott, who am I? I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, the thing about with Osa
Yeah.
Osa's like a really good college player. He plays really well for about the first 12 to 13 weeks of the season.
So facts.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, where'd he go?
Right.
And he deals with a lot. I mean, he's really in tune to his body, though. I mean, he is very in tune to what he needs to do. But we've seen him not be able to answer the bell in the 17th round. You know? I mean, I know boxing matches aren't like that anymore, but when you're starting to talk about the NFL season, like week 12, it's like, and then you don't see him for the month of December.
That's true.
And you're like going, man, I know he's a better player because I saw it for 12 weeks.
He went crazy for 12 weeks. He would literally go crazy. You're right. From his rookie year to now.
Yeah. He's had some, but anyway,
in a good way. When I say crazy, in a good way.
If I'm this pro department, like I say, if I'm Alex Loomis, I know what my mission is. I'm going to look at
running
my team.
back and DTs.
Yeah, I'm going to look at my team and I'm going to say, okay, I'm probably dying a little bit right now at defensive tackle, and I'm dying a little bit at running back. And then if I can find somebody, they've got compensatories, they've got their own picks, they've got some things they can play with. I would say, hey, we got some surplus at a couple of spots. You interested? Maybe somebody will like one of these tackles you got or something. I don't know. Maybe you can, what if Thomas comes along and or BB really comes along and now you could trade Bass? I know Bass played really well for you, but maybe that will bring you back something that, you trade guy for guy and they get a starting caliber guard and you get back a starting defensive tackle. That might be the trick, right?
I love it. I was thinking safety might be your angle. Because to me,
I think Wilson's in some trouble. Myself.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I got a clip of you saying that.
I know Mike, and this is not anything I talked with Mike Zimmer about. I'd be honest about this. This is something I know Mike.
Your gut
likes to play with interchangeable players.
Right.
He likes to play down, back, and you got to be smart. You got to be able to read it. You got to cover, and you got to be able to have some range. That's how Mike plays with his guys. Wanye Thomas to me is that kind of guy.
Yeah.
If you put him back there with Hooker, and then it's a little bit of a up back, or two back, and not let things, but have some tackling ability back there and stuff. I think that Wanye Thomas has got a shot to take Hooker's job. Not Hooker's, to take
Donovan Wilson.
Donovan Wilson's shot.
Real quick.
Wilson's a good player.
Real quick. Y'all clap it up real quick. Clap it up. We've been waiting on this day. We've been waiting on somebody to come talk about safety. We finally got somebody that's talking about safety. Thank you, God. We've been waiting on this. God has answered us. Oh, man. Hold on real quick.
One more thing. We didn't mention the safeties. I know you're getting to the mailbag.
Did you think safeties were open? I didn't. I think there's a competition for Wilson's spot. With who? Thomas?
Wanye Thomas.
Interesting. I think that I think it's gonna be. I don't think we're entering camp that way. Could he wrestle it away and turn it into a competition? Yes, but I feel like entering camp, the safety spots are kind of locked. That's how I feel. But no, totally respect it and can see how that could be the case.
Clap it up. We got some safety talk. I'm so happy. I don't know what to do with myself. So that's going to also make me follow up now. That nobody.
I think I was wearing the same shirt. I think I'm wearing the same shirt as that clip.
Did we catch it? We can do that as men. We can do that.
World we live in.
So since we talking about safety, we finally listen. I'm so excited we talking about safety. We gonna talk about what the world wants to know.
Marquise Bell.
Yeah.
Please catch us up, because man, Brian.
Man, I like Marquise Bell.
Exactly. This man had to have the most courage out of everybody to play undersized as a green dot guy in a position you wasn't born to do, but do it just because you're a football player and you taking a step backwards. Please catch us up, Brian.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I mentioned Wanye Thomas because I've seen Wanye Thomas playing coverage quite a bit.
Right.
And maybe if we get to Oxnard and we're all watching practice and we're watching the one-on-ones, that we can see Bell and how he plays at depth.
Okay.
I need to learn about Bell playing at depth.
Okay.
I've seen him play in the box, and you're right. The kid, there's not anybody in the Dallas Cowboys organization that doesn't respect that kid.
Yes.
Because they know he was thrown in a terrible situation, and he played his ass off. And I mean that in all respect to him. But I do need to see him play at depth, and I need to see him playing coverage, and I need to see him move, turn, react, plant, go, not get fooled, recover, rally, all those things. Right. I don't question that kid's toughness at all. I think he'll do everything he has to do to be on the field, but show me his ability to cover, and then I'll give you a better idea if he is going to be, if he could take both Thomas and also take Wilson out of this equation.
I'm gonna hold you to it, Brian. I promise you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need your eyes because you do a good job. Like you catch all the little things. You catch a lot of little things. Yeah. Because I was liking what you was talking about with John Stevens, and the networking with Stephen Jones, and kind of reading the tea leaves into that. Like catching the little things that mean there's some interest.
Well, you can ask questions. They won't always give you the great answer, but they'll also tell you if you're way wrong. I've been doing my show and got texts from people saying you're talking about trading the wrong guy.
Ooh.
And now it makes you think about trading somebody else.
Wow.
So there's people that listen to what we all say. As a matter of fact, I'm sure some of this will get clipped and sent, and they'll hear it. They'll see it.
Yeah.
But but it's like I say, there's a lot of times where somebody will come up to you and go, "You got that one right."
Love
you nailed
it.
that. So
Love it.
We'll see.
I got another thing. I know we're talking about safeties.
Yeah, can this be the last one? I
transition
got a
to this
girlfriend that's going to kill me.
Man, he got a girlfriend. This is the last one, man. He got to get brought out. He got the lady, man. He said, wait, y'all. I like talking football, but I don't like y'all like this lady, okay? Let's get this right.
I told her I'd be done by 9, and she's very patient. She's a really patient girl.
I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm done.
All right, give me one more question. What do you got?
Thank you, Brian.
Who can take Jordan Lewis off the field, man? And who gonna be on the other side? I had to throw in another one. Who gonna be the other DB?
Ed Israel.
He's trying to get there. Another. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. The thing about it, I was talking to somebody. We had our dinner. We had our dinner the other night. It's our draft show dinner. With Aisha and Kyle Yeomans and Zach Wolchuk, all of us. Jerry paid for us all to go to dinner, and we had a great dinner. It was nice to see everybody there. And we were talking about, the corner situation, and with, what's the deal with Diggs? And we'd seen Diggs work that last day, and and I was talking to some folks about Diggs. I'm like, boy, I'm excited to see Diggs. And the comment I heard was, "Yeah, me too." Me too. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, me too. He goes, he's working hard. We got a long way to go, though. We got a long way. We're working on it. We'll get there. And I was going, okay, so this means that maybe that when we get to camp, that Diggs is not in part of the rotation, that he's over with Britt Brown, working with that group. And what we all worry about are the guys that have come off injuries. They're ready to play, but then they don't get ready to really – they start playing 4 or 5 weeks in, and then all of a sudden they get going again. And I don't know if this team can afford to have Diggs wait 4 or 5 weeks. I think he has to be one of these guys that's ready from the jump. But I'm just getting that vibe of he's working – but we've got a ways to go.
Don't rush him.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, all right, well, now what do I need to do? How do I need to figure out how this group is going to play? I'm hopeful. My guy Carson from Wake Forest, the rookie, shows up really well. Eric Scott has had some really good practices, what I've seen. He's been involved. I know he's a guy pushing the rock up the hill.
Yeah.
His sponsors are all gone.
Right.
Every one of his sponsors are gone.
Right.
He's here. He's like, I got to make this team on my own. He's got no more sponsors, but he's showing up a little bit. Nashawn Wright, they've thrown the ball at him a couple of times. He's made some plays. I'm throwing a lot of dirt on Nashawn Wright.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's about time for you, Nashawn Wright.
Yeah.
So there's some, the two positions that are the toughest at training camp. These kids have to be tough. They have to be tough. Wide receiver and corner or safety. Because you know what? They run the whole practice.
Right.
Run. If you're not mentally tough, if you're hurting, you're sore, you have bad practices. Say you have 2-3 really good practices in a row, and then all of a sudden you have 4 bad practices because you're tired, you're sore, you're feeling sorry for yourself. That they will eliminate you fast. You will cut yourself. So that's why you keep an eye on these corners. Which one of these corners is going to cut himself off this team? Because there's a lot of and they're all going to get chances because of Diggs. Diggs not likely going to be practicing. There's going to be a time here where a lot of guys get a lot of reps.
Yeah.
Man, thank you, Bryan. Y'all clap it up.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Sorry to have you late for the lady, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I told her? I said, listen, these guys will keep me for about 9. And then you said, hey, do you have time? And I'm thinking, yeah, I got time. And I looked down at the clock and I lost track of time.
It happens.
I love being with you guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, Bryan, I got somebody on the phone.
Get your ass up there, contain the damn ball. Hey, too many missed tackles.
Hey, it's a missed tackle. You better hurry up.
You better hurry up, man.
I wished him a happy birthday the other day, and I think he wanted to tell me to go F myself. Is what he did. I love
can't
Mike.
wait for you to do an interview with him, man, live.
I love Mike Zimmer. I hope everything works out for Mike. Mike's a damn good coach. Mike still has that intensity and stuff like that. I don't know if he's that guy anymore, but hopefully we won't. He still gets after it, but maybe he's not going to F-bomb him to death. I hope. We'll see in training camp. I might have to walk up to him and say, hey, at one time you were a mean MFer, I have to remind him that he once coached hard with these guys. So, but I appreciate your platform. I appreciate all the work you guys do. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you for being a bridge.
I love the opportunity to be with you guys. All right.
Be
well.
All right, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that was Bryan Broaddus, man.
Yeah, just Bryan Broaddus, man.
All
legend,
the work.
Man. Yeah.
Obviously legendary. Obviously very legendary.
Oh my gosh.
And then obviously shout out to the work that he's doing with Voch and the other things, man. And I really meant what I said. He's a bridge, right? So I just love how, a lot of old media rock with new media. And he's somebody that really goes out his way to make sure that he is not above talking football.
Right.
So all right, Law, I know you ain't quite ready to give your final words. What's your thoughts?
Oh, well, I was going to add in these few things right here. To be fair to Donovan Wilson, he was another guy from last year that was coming off of an injury. So he wasn't all the way up to speed like he was the previous year. So that could be a change in temperature. Now, I do get with what y'all are saying with, Wanye and Marquise Bell and everything. So this is why it makes it such a great opportunity to go out there to see for ourselves out there in practice who's really shining, who's really standing tall. And this is a good problem to have with our safety room. It's a damn good problem to have.
Great problem.
Because even Julius Woods, he's looking good from what I heard. So the only reservation that we may have in the secondary is we don't want to rush Trayvon Diggs and he have that Michael Gallup effect, or any of those slow starts like a Tony Pollard effect, or a Terrence Steele coming off of an injury and have these extreme high expectations. And we probably have to circle back to Broaddus because we didn't talk about the linebackers at all. We couldn't get to it, right? Yeah. Right. Oh, that was a good spot to talk about too.
Now, I think we touched the most important things.
What's that? The quarterback,
the quarterback, the DT, the safety. all the stuff people ain't been talking about, we got to it, in my opinion. Right. We got and also real quick, the likes are way down.
Yeah.
But that happens. I did you like that earlier. I was watching your show earlier and I got so into what you were saying, I forget that like. And then when you said something, I did. So most people just need a quick reminder. We got a lot of people watching. Just go ahead and hit that like, as we, obviously had a very good show with Bryan Broaddus. Real quick, just obviously that's just one. We got more coming, and every one of these are going to be different. So now we have Chill coming. That's going to be very different, right? Because it was some things that he sparked that we go be able to talk about. Like, for instance, this question here.
Big focus on stop and run. You got you're inexperienced on paper at the defensive line, even with Mozzie.
Right.
So we gonna be able to talk to Chill, right? So every one of these interviews go bring something different, right? So the final word, we're bringing now Chill next week. After that, Michael Gilkin, which is gonna be something totally different. That's gonna likely dig into some contracts because he wrote an article about Dak and an affordability, and we gonna get into that. I'm gonna want to talk about that. We gonna probably talk about a lot of football when we get to Nick Harris. That's gonna get deep into the weeds. He also promised that he was gonna do 2 shows with the final word. He gonna do one before training camp and one during training camp. So
getting it out of the mud.
Yeah, man. He just a good guy. He's also like Bryan Broaddus to where he's gonna get into the community. He's somebody that's not too big, so he's a humble guy. My boy Rome in the building, he said this show was phenomenal. Man, I appreciate that, bro, especially coming from you, big dog. So yeah, man, did you have any more football thoughts, or did you want to get to some final words?
Nah, outside of the fact that
appreciate that, Rome.
I think salute to Rome and all of the content creators and the people that follow this channel. You guys, it's the off season. We in the desert part of the off season, so whatever you guys say, comment, like, share, it counts. It counts a lot, and I appreciate it. I would say that you guys are spot on with the interior threat. We going to have to really hold the Cowboys accountable.
Right.
We can't let that slide.
Yeah.
New media, everybody, when it get down to that time frame, I want y'all to go back and cut that clip and say, hey, remember what y'all said. You guys said y'all gonna bring in some big boys, and we looking for that. We can't go into this season like we did last year, raise the blade thin at linebackers and expecting the results, right? So now we can't go into this season raise the blade thin at defensive tackle. We can't.
It's just what it is, and I totally agree with you that we're gonna have to hold them accountable, because I didn't like what I was hearing in terms of kneeling, having to pay 3 tech, and and I'm just one of them. I'm gonna keep it real. Like this had that smell of Gallup, right? Where we all knew Gallup wasn't ready when he was coming off that ACL, but they did it anyway.
Gallup knew he wasn't ready. Remember, he was like, man, I'm about to lose my job over here. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, Tolbert looking good. Brooks looking good.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Brooks looked better than Tolbert and Gallup.
Yeah. And see, I want to get into that. We did run out of time because I did want to get into receiver 3. I did. I really did. And I wanted to get into tight end too. But, man, these men got lives, and he just came off that radio show and walked right in and did another show. So, man, we obviously appreciate that.
No doubt.
So I'm going to go ahead and you got anything else on football?
Nah.
I'll say one more thing on football, man. It's been going around about Mike McCarthy being fed up.
Right.
To be honest, I think most of that is behind us. I think that's honestly kind of old news when you look at especially, and it was a lot of sauce he gave out, because I listened to Bobby Bell, and he did a fantastic job of breaking down the possibilities of why the source didn't make sense, right? How that I heard you talk about it today on your show, where he was saying that the personnel guy from 2 years ago don't align. So you had to look at Green Bay connections. And that's when I started saying this. And I listened to the clip, I read it. And when I read it, Law, it sounded like somebody that's of leadership.
Yeah.
That's kind of leadership talk.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that at least 1 year extension. Yeah.
Right. That's somebody that's very aware of morale. And when you look at the background of the coaches who left, which one of those guys fit? You know,
Rob Davis. Yeah,
that's Rob Davis. Yeah.
When you brought that up, it was eye opener because why would you fire your guy that's helped supporting you?
Right.
And when you brought that up, it just opened my eyes to that they really want to get rid of Mike McCarthy. But the brother kept winning, and the offense was clearly better than the defense down the stretch.
Right.
Offense was carrying his team. A lot of people was talking about defense, and even Cam Newton was talking about Dak Prescott as a trailer that hitches onto something. You know what I mean? You remember that he made that analogy?
Yep.
But damn, this dude put up MVP kind of calibers of numbers, and I get it, right? He didn't get the MVP vote, or he didn't win the MVP. But if you look at the numbers, we already know that was all political, because the numbers that even what's this guy name who won? Lamar Jackson put up was Dak Prescott numbers that he did in 2019.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't like Lamar Jackson did something crazy good. It was the fact that he was on a crazy good team, though. So, but that's a whole nother conversation. I just think that, you know, when you look at everything, Mike McCarthy is going to go out with this fight. And hopefully, you know, by the pieces that he added to, like to Steve Shemko's and giving more and more authority to Brian Schottenheimer, I think that this team is a whole lot better than what they were last season. Based off of also what Nate Newton told me.
What'd he tell you?
That last year was going to take 6 or 7 weeks for Solari to get everything going. So that 6 or 7 weeks is already done. The installments is already there. The process is already there. So I think that these boys are going to be more attuned to what he's wanting out of the system with his particular philosophy. I think that Solari, Jeff Blasco, Steve Shemko, and Brian Schottenheimer, I think that the offensive run thing, you hear what Bryan Broaddus said. I know some people missed out what he said, but he was talking about the scheme that Boston College was able to do with the run approach was very vital on them gaining about 300 to 400 yards a game. So I think that this offense from a running perspective will be a whole lot better than what we were last season.
I also think two things before we give our final words. It also could be Joe Philbin. It could be him. Somebody that's a previous head coach, right? So that person will understand leading men as well. So it could, you know, so we just doing the process of elimination, you know, just trying to figure out the source. It could even be Joe Witt. But anyway, but man, this what I'm gonna say, man, is my final word. I made this thumbnail before he came in because I knew what he was gonna do before he came in. I told y'all that he was gonna hand out secrets. That's who Bryan Broaddus is. Like, he has some big old stones, right? Like when you really listen to what he said, right? And I know, Law, I know you know, like, when you listen to the fact that when you say stuff on the radio or when you give your opinion and then you gotta walk through the plane with the same people you just said them tough opinions on. The character to do that is not easy. Now I know a lot of people talk tough, but how many people can say to the head coach, I think he's lazy, and stand on it?
Stand on it, yeah, without speculations.
Yeah, you know, just. But he'll look you straight in your face and say, "I got a job to do," you know. And this is my first time hearing him say, I wanted to be a GM. And now it makes sense even more why he's so direct, right? Because when you are a GM, these are my final words, by the way. When you are a GM, you can't play. You got to call it like it is. You know,
Right.
You got to, when it's time to let go of a good player, you got to say it. If you got to get aggressive to go draft your next quarterback, you got to say it.
Got to.
So what we really listening to is somebody that has a GM mind that's on the radio. That is a gift, y'all. So I just appreciate what we are all doing together, and I really appreciate him taking the time to come in and give us the secrets. That's my final word.
Yes, indeed. It's always good to have a voice of reasons, someone that's close to the facility, to be able to speak upon things that we know for sure that we may have a small touch of reality to, but now he had the full reality to, if I can say it that way, right? Like he said, man, I live by this, man. I see this. These are things that I see, right?
Yeah, this
with
is my
the
world.
Cooper BB versus TJ Bass versus Brock Hoffman. And it could be not the best move, but that's just how the Cowboys move and operate.
Right.
Me personally, Mike McCarthy back against the wall. He don't want rookie offensive linemen out there. He's in a win now mode, right?
Right.
So I get that part of it. But at the end of the day, if Brock Hoffman versus TJ Bass versus Cooper Beebe, if Cooper Beebe is the better player, and if they are equal, then you better go with Cooper Beebe.
All day.
All of that bullshit stuff aside, man, I don't give a dog how good Brock Hoffman can lead. You know what I'm saying? You know, come on, man. I need to have the person that's able to be the difference maker, right? Someone that can maul in all over you, you know, and do some damages. And we don't need to play the political game.
No.
Play the best player. Michael Gallup, they probably will say, yeah, he's a better leader. He's leading. He's been here. He had the experience. But bullsugar, we saw Jalen Brooks beat him out, right?
Right.
We saw Jalen Tolbert, both of the Jalens, even Jalen Monroe Cropper, you know, all of the Jalens was beating him up right there out there at Oxnard. So don't just play the political game. Play the football game. That's my final word.
Man, let's go.
3, 2, 1, drop it.
And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best.
Those grills, drop it hard.
Let's go.
It's time to do.
I just wanna run it up. Count a check or something. I've been really in the field, let up, I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Half a ticket to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count a check or something. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up, count it up. Lately I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives, need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.